Who is Walker Reynolds? Walker Reynolds is the inventor of the Unified Namespace. He's the chairman, CEO of the 4.0 solution. He's an integrator from ever. He's purely into SCADA IT/OT platforms. And he's a really cool influencer on social media, on YouTube. You cannot not follow him on a lot of videos he's sharing. So he's sharing really interesting insights, how he is feeling digital transformation should be done in the industry. And also with which products you should do what, and with which product you should maybe not do something. So he has a quite good opinion on something, and he's telling that. Yeah? And that's really a great pleasure to have him here today. And the thing what explain him, I think the best is one of the big statements Apple have done. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change something, they do. So he is really into changing something in the industry. And we learned that he has used WinCC OA some years ago. So he knows WinCC OA and he has a great opinion about WinCC OA. And I'm super happy that we have him here today to talk about a topic who is Muni introducing.
And speaking of this, if I may just add something, you can really rely on his opinion because he's really objective. I saw his video and he really gets straight to the point, directly to the core issue that industry face, and offer you from his multi-researches and tested the best optimum solution. And we are really happy to have him here to tell us a little bit more about digital transformation and why does anyone care about this. Ladies and gentlemen, Walker Reynolds. Thank you.
That was great, man. That was awesome.
Cool.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
So, quick setup. Here you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
I like it. So I don't have to bend over. Much better. Thank you.
And you don't need this, right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. All right. So who here has ever seen me speak before? Raise your hand, please. Okay. Live. All right. So this week is actually going to be a little different than what I normally do. So I'm doing 3 presentations. So I'm doing 2 workshops tomorrow that go together. So one at 9 o'clock, which will be theoretical, and one at 1 o'clock, which will be actual application. And this keynote, I'm going to lay the foundation for both of those presentations. So if you were to come to the presentation tomorrow at 9 and then at 1 o'clock, you would probably be a little bit lost because there are certain things I would assume you agreed with me on already. So that's what we're going to go over today, digital transformation. Why does anyone care? Let me start with this. What is digital transformation? And if you've heard me speak before, don't answer. Okay, so what is digital transformation? So digital transformation has been going on since when? Does anybody know the year that the 4th Industrial Revolution started? 1998 is when the 4th Industrial Revolution started. So let's start there. Industry 0 is what? It was the printing press. And then Industry 1 was the steam engine. Industry 2 was the assembly line. Industry 3 happened in 1969. It was the invention of the PLC. Industry 4 started in 1998 is when TCP won the protocol wars. TCP/IP won the protocol wars in 98. Industry 4 started. And Industry 5 has started. We're in the 5th Industrial Revolution right now. Most people don't know it, but we will look back on this period and say we're in the 5th Industrial Revolution. When did that happen? Does anybody know what the groundbreaking technology is that started the 5th Industrial Revolution? ChatGPT in November of 2022. We're actually in the 5th Industrial Revolution right now. Most of us don't know it. And most of you are still in the 3rd Industrial Revolution, and you're working with clients who are in the 3rd Industrial Revolution. Okay? So what is digital transformation? So now that we have that what is actually digital transformation? Everybody knows the term, right? What is it? I mean, it blows my mind that I don't have any takers on what the definition is. Someone give me an example. We have all these digital solutions out here. Someone give me an example of digital transformation. Anybody?
Software-defined control.
Software-defined control? Right. So here's what most people think of digital transformation as digitization, taking something that's on paper and then using software to create a digital object out of that physical reality. That is a subset of digital transformation. Digital transformation is actually a strategy for making data the primary commodity in your business. Okay, so one of the things I want to do, how many of you here are an OEM? You make products. You make a product for manufacturers or industry. How many of you are in manufacturing? Raise your hand a little higher. You're in manufacturing. And how many of you are consultants for manufacturers? And then how many of you are executives? How many of you are in business development? Okay, if you didn't raise your hand, tell me what you do. Somebody. Say it again. System integrator. You're a system integrator. Okay. All right. Let me talk about how manufacturing works first. This is literally every single manufacturer on the planet. There are no exceptions. This is every single manufacturer. They sell stuff, they plan to manufacture stuff, they execute the manufacturing of that stuff, they monitor and control their plants, they monitor and control their assets, they manage their inventory, they ship stuff, they get paid for stuff, and they do it all over again. That's every single manufacturer. There are no exceptions. Does anybody disagree with that statement? That's every single manufacturer. Digital transformation is a strategy for making data the primary commodity in your business. In each one of those boxes, there are master data models, and there are events, and there are transactions. There is data that is very, very valuable to the business that is locked up in each of those boxes. The reason people listen to me, and the reason I was invited to fly all the way over here, is because in 2005, I created an architecture called the Unified Namespace. So I started my career in manufacturing. The first 12 years of my career, I was in mining, and then I went to the printing industry, and then I went to the steel industry, and then I went to Tier 1 automotive, and then I became a consultant. And in 2013, I was the lead engineer on the largest standalone SCADA system build in the world. And when I led that, 19 developers over 18 months, $1.6 million budget, covering 5 states in the United States, 11 million data points, 14,000 locations, 40,000 devices, 2 million daily alarms, 2,000 concurrent users on one standalone server. And the next closest bid was $50 million. We did it for 1.6, and they did it, and the next closest bid was 50 million. It was Wonderware. The bid after that was 75 million. That was Rockwell. The bid after that was 100 million. That was Signet. So when we did it for $1.6 million using Unified Namespace, everybody started to listen. And I'm a jerk. I'll be the first one to tell you, I am not a nice guy. No one's going to enjoy having a conversation with me. If you say something stupid to me, I will tell you you're stupid to your face. I will tell you you're wasting my time. I will tell you you're dumber than I am. I'll say that I'm smarter than you are. People don't listen to me because I'm kind or because I'm nice. They listen to me because I'm right. And because we did this project for $1.6 million when the next closest bid was 50 million. In 2015, I created a system integrator that the whole goal was to redefine how system integrators serve their clients. And we used Unified Namespace to do it. Every single project, every single client. Okay? Do you know who some of those clients were? Tesla and Amazon were 2 of them. So I'm going to ask you this question. Why are Tesla and Amazon awesome? Well, first off, let's start here. Does everyone agree that Tesla and Amazon are awesome? Everyone agrees Tesla and Amazon are awesome, right? Does anybody think Tesla is not awesome? You don't think? Are you joking? Okay, why? I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to do this, but go ahead. So why is Tesla not awesome?
Because I'm preferring the typical German ones, like Audi, like BMW, like Mercedes-Benz.
Its problem is that Audi's cycle time is 1 minute, 1 second, and BMW's cycle time is 59 seconds. What is Tesla's cycle time? What was it 2 years ago? It was 48 seconds. What is it today? It's 33 seconds. What is the average maintenance cost per mile for a Tesla? What is it for a BMW and for an Audi? It's 11 cents per mile for a Tesla. 11 cents. Total maintenance. Do you know what you should know? If you're a fan of BMW and Audi, you should know that number. What is it? I do. It's 10 times that cost. 10 times that cost. That's the extended cost. BMW and Audi are dead. Without being subsidized by governments, BMW and Audi are dead. The only European car manufacturer who will survive is who? Does anybody know who it is? No. They're the only manufacturer in the top 10 of digital maturity globally who's a legacy manufacturer. So if you take the 10 most digital companies in the world, one of them is German, one of them is in the top 10, and they are a legacy company. It's Volkswagen. Volkswagen is the only company that will survive. That is a mathematical certainty. It's not speculation. It's basic math, and I just gave you the numbers. Digital transformation for most organizations is figuring out how to become like Tesla and Amazon when I was a legacy company, when I am hampered by the things I learned during the third industrial revolution. That's what digital transformation is. Here is an example, okay? Is anybody familiar with this? This is from Toyota. So these are the technology S-curves. Everybody know the technology S-curve? So after a technological breakthrough, we invest dollars in technology and we get basically no return because we're stupid. We're dumb. But then we start learning from that investment in technology, and then our ROIs, we start picking better projects, we start turning them over faster and faster and faster, and we start to see higher and higher return. We get to the end of the technological revolution, we've invested all the dollars in continuous improvement, and then we start seeing diminishing returns in our investments. That lighthouse in the center, that's called Kaikaku in Japan, that's groundbreaking innovation. So TCP/IP in 1998, groundbreaking innovation. ChatGPT in 2022, groundbreaking innovation. The PLC in 1969, groundbreaking innovation. For those of you who are older than me, I'm 51, my career started in about 2000. I wasn't around when the first PLCs came out, but I have worked on the first PLCs. But one of the things I did when I was in graduate school was I wrote a paper on what was it that people knew in 1969. What was the average worker's knowledge base in 1969 when we had that technological revolution? Who were the first two countries to adopt the PLCs in 69? Actually, a German company adopted them in 1971 and a Japanese company adopted them in 1969. Who were the first two countries? They're the first two companies, anybody know? One was Japanese and one was German. 10 years later, the United States, which was a manufacturing powerhouse in 1969, was shipping all their jobs overseas because they didn't adopt that technology. So one of the things I did was I wrote a paper. I was wondering, why did we not adopt the technology? What's the reason we didn't adopt it? And the answer is we didn't know what we didn't know. No, we didn't. We only chased cheap labor. We only chased cheap labor because we didn't adopt the technology. The Japanese and the Germans had a 10-year head start on technological advancement. Who in here thinks ChatGPT is stupid? Does anybody in here think, I don't want to deal with fucking AI? How many of you are like, it's irrelevant? It's irrelevant. You can't, if you're not using ChatGPT, you can't compete with me. I'll destroy you in the market. Doesn't matter how you feel. I thought you were going to say you didn't like Tesla because you don't like Elon. And I generally say, who gives a shit? Who cares what you think about Elon Musk? Why do you think your opinion of Elon Musk is so important? That's normally what I say. What matters is what he's achieved. That's it. That's the only thing that matters. One of the biggest challenges we're all going to face, I'm going to talk about something at the end of my speech, MCP, Model Context Protocol. Who here has heard of Model Context Protocol? All right, so if you've heard of Model Context Protocol, raise your hand. Don't be shy, because I want to use an actual number. So we're talking 10% of the room knows Model Context Protocol. It was invented 18 months ago. 10% of you have heard of it. It's seeing wide adoption across industry starting 120 days ago. If there's anything you remember from this presentation, it is Model Context Protocol. It is MCP. I promise you. If you weren't early adopters of ChatGPT in October of 2022 or in January of 2023, and you weren't working on your fluency, how to work with AI agents, you're way behind the curve. And if you don't start studying Model Context Protocol today, all of you engineers in here, you will be way behind the curve 24 months from now. You must know Model Context Protocol. You must know Model Context Protocol. You must know Model Context Protocol. You will end your career if you do not know it. I promise you. Your career will be over. All right, off my soapbox. All right, digital transformation is this process. It's the process of investing in technology and working our way through the technology S-curve. When the PLC came out in 1969, you know what the average skill set was of a technologist in a plant? They knew relay logic, they knew how to wire MCCs, they knew how to diagnose physical contactors. When TCP/IP won the protocol wars in 1998, at the end of the third industrial revolution, what was the skill set of the average technologist in a plant? They knew user-defined data types, they knew add-on instructions, they knew structured text, they knew IEC 61131, things that did not exist when the PLC was invented, but only exist because it was. We are all at the very beginning of the fifth industrial revolution. 2 years ago when ChatGPT came out, no one knew Model Context Protocol would be invented. Okay, and for the 90% of you who have never heard of Model Context Protocol, believe you me, tonight when you go back to your room and you Google it and you look at its capabilities, you will shit your fucking pants. I'm serious. In fact, most of you will be scared. Most of you will be wondering, where am I going to work? And what am I going to do? It is that groundbreaking. Okay? Digital transformation is a strategy for making data the primary commodity in your business. Okay? Why is Amazon awesome? Everybody here uses Amazon, right? Why are they awesome? Say it in layman's terms. Explain it. Explain to a 10-year-old, me, why is it I should be using Amazon? Simplicity. What is simple, though?
You just click on order, like 3 clicks away from getting something.
Right, 3 clicks away from getting something.
Yes.
Any? All right.
Cheap,
Competitive, inexpensive. Get it the next day. Traceability.
very customer friendly if you have any kind of problem.
Excellent. All right. Room full of smart people here, right? Everybody in here, you guys are the smart ones, right? All right. I'm a CEO. I've put us all in a room and I've said, what we're going to do is we're going to create the next Amazon. I want us to sell 99% of all products. Think about it. How often do you go to Amazon looking for something and it's not there? 99% of products at the best price in 48 hours or less to 98% of the population. That's what Amazon does. 99% of products in 48 hours or less to 98% of the population at the best price. How do we do that? Okay, logistics is generally the number one answer. We're gonna master logistics, right?
There are matches of scaling. I mean, traversing that experience curve?
You know the answer because you've heard me say it before, but yeah. How does Amazon actually do it? The better question is, why hasn't Walmart done it? Walmart already had distribution centers all over the world. And in the United States, there is a Walmart distribution center within 100 miles of 99% of Americans. 100 miles, that's it. And the US is a huge country. What did Amazon do that Walmart didn't do? This is what blows my mind. All you people who use this, you guys are really smart people. You don't know how Amazon does it. How does Amazon achieve their goal, their 4 primary goals? How do they do it? They predict what you're going to buy 6 weeks before you buy it. With 99% accuracy. They predict what you're going to buy 6 weeks before you buy it with 99% accuracy. How does Tesla get a 33-second cycle time? How did they do that? They rely on technology to do what technology is really good at, and they rely on people to do what people are really good at. And they don't ask people to do things that technology should do, and they don't ask technology to do things that people should do. Data is their primary commodity. All the stuff that manufacturers make is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Manufacturing of the future is contract manufacturing. 80% of manufacturers will manufacture many, 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 many things. It is a hyper-specialized economy that we're working towards. Okay, Gigafactory was built to manufacture what? And don't say cars. Because it wasn't built to manufacture cars. It was built to manufacture anything. The car is irrelevant. This is why Elon's a genius. Tesla doesn't sell cars. They sell sensors. They sell sensors that collect data that they learn from. And then they sell what they learn to municipalities. That's digital transformation, data as primary commodity. So how does it work? Everything I'm going to talk about with WinCC OA tomorrow at 9 and at 1 o'clock is based on these foundational principles, okay? Stuff's very important. Important concepts when it comes to digital transformation. Number 1, first and foremost, digital transformation is a strategy. It is not a project. Number 2, it's about transforming the way manufacturers operate by leveraging data that they generate every day, but they rarely use in real time. Okay? Number 3, the vast majority of manufacturers will go out of business. How many? This is a mathematical certainty. How do we know? Because we can measure the data from the first, second, and third industrial revolutions. The answer is 1 in 12. 11 out of 12 manufacturers, industry, will either get acquired or go out of business within the Industrial Revolution. And you can look that up too. I'm saying? It's a good question, but I don't have that data point. What we do know is that it's many more than what go out of business because economies grow. Economies get bigger, they don't get smaller. GDP goes up, it doesn't go down. So we do know it's more. So important concepts when it comes to digital transformation. Number 1, you must know what your digital strategy is, always. Who here has a digital strategy statement? 3 sentences. Why I want to be a digital company. Who here has a customer who has a digital strategy statement? Most of you should be terrified by this point. Most of you should be really scared by this point. Really. Nobody could tell me what digital transformation is. Nobody has a digital strategy statement. No one knows the data on Tesla, BMW, and Audi. You guys are the experts. Think about that. By the way, many of you looked it up and saw that I was right. Many of you Googled it. I saw you. Number 2, this is what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. Digital companies approach every project as one part of a bigger whole. For the integrator, there's no such thing as a standalone project. There is no one problem statement I'm solving. There is no one functional specification. There is not a single sequence of operations. There is a problem I'm solving iteratively on a common digital infrastructure. What is Tesla's digital infrastructure? Anybody know what it's called? The cars, Tesla cars, are connected into this digital infrastructure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is different than, say, Ford or GM or BMW or Mercedes-Benz, where they poll the cars. Tesla cars push data up into infrastructure, and it's called Tesla Warp. There is a digital infrastructure upon which I could enter that digital infrastructure and access any digital node, including every car on the road, in real time. How do they do that? Unified Namespace. Okay? Number 3, make no assumptions about how data will be consumed. This is the system integrator's biggest problem. This is the engineer's biggest problem. You decide which data points are important, and you're not qualified to. Just because you think these 6 of these 100 in the PLC are what I need right now, doesn't mean that's what the customer is going to need in 5 years. All data matters. Every single event, every transition. All data is an event. It's something that happened and when. You can't take action on data. We take data and we convert that into information that we can take action on. Is everybody familiar with that concept of data and information? All right. Make no assumptions about how data will be consumed. All data matters. Number 4, treat all producers and consumers of data as a node in an ecosystem. Number 5, most importantly, this is where WinCC OA comes in. Build a technology stack, not a solution stack. You don't buy digital transformation, you build digital transformation to serve your strategy. The reason I'm a huge fan of WinCC OA, and it's been since 2018, if you guys watch any of my videos, there are 3 platforms I talk about. IIoT platforms, I'm gonna talk about here in a second. Everybody here is familiar with Ignition? Okay, Ignition and WinCC OA, they are the same thing. They are IIoT platforms. I'm gonna explain what an IIoT platform here is in a second. They are IIoT platforms, okay? They are rapid application development environments that talk to everything in a business that you build solutions inside of. Most of you are using WinCC OA as WinCC HMI SCADA Plus, but it is way more than that. Way more than that. It is a IIoT platform. Many manufacturers can use WinCC OA as the hub of the digital infrastructure. And the greatest growth market for WinCC OA is in the IIoT platform market. Not I'm selling it to machine builders who are putting OA on assets, or I'm selling it to IT who wants to use it for SCADA Plus. But we're selling it to 95% of the manufacturers. $25 million a year or less, 200 employees or less to be their digital infrastructure, and we solve all their problems within that platform. Iteratively, over and over and over again. Digital transformation happens right here. All the time, every single time. You have to inventory a business first. You have to inventory all the smart stuff in the business. You have to connect all the smart stuff to the network, including people. You have to integrate into a common digital infrastructure. In this case, I obviously am going to promote my architecture. We're going to present information. We're going to learn from information. And then we're going to come up with new problems to solve, and we're going to iterate. Here's an axiom I want you to remember. Digital transformation is about exponentially increasing the collective knowledge of an organization. Okay? What your customer wants you to fix, or what you want to fix in your plant, is a function of what you know. You're not fixing things you don't know. Everyone agree there? So it follows that if digital transformation is about making the business smarter collectively, it naturally follows that the problems we want to solve will increase by n squared. And so you can't afford to take 4 to 6 months to solve the next problem. You got to be able to solve the next problem in 2 weeks. Well, how do you do that? You have to be solving the problem on a solution you already have there. That's where WinCC OA comes in. Okay? How many of you are familiar with MATLAB? Okay, how many of you have worked with interns who used MATLAB in college? Okay, what tool do they want to use to solve every frickin' problem when they come to work for you? MATLAB. They want to use Python inside of MATLAB. Why? Because it's the tool they know. What you have to do as a manufacturer, what y'all have to do as engineers, what you have to do as system integrators is make WinCC OA the tool your customer knows. If all you have is a hammer, then every problem is a what? A nail. WinCC OA is an IIoT platform. All right, this is a really important part. I'm going to teach this, how to use WinCC OA for this part tomorrow. All right, digital transformation, what does it actually look like in practice? Well, an organization has to become a smart business first. A smart business has a digital infrastructure that can plug into other digital infrastructures. So, for example, if you're a Tesla supplier, you are connected to Tesla's digital infrastructure. Saint-Gobain, which is a large French multinational, they make the passenger glass for the windows in Tesla cars. Okay? If Saint-Gobain is having a problem getting silicon to make the glass, okay, do they call Tesla to tell them, hey, our lead times are going to get longer? No. Tesla predicted they were going to have that problem 12 weeks before they had that problem, and they've already adjusted. That's how they get their cycle time down to 33 seconds. Okay? But you have to become a smart business in order to be able to plug into a digital infrastructure. So digital transformation is really simple. It's connect, collect, store, analyze, visualize, find patterns, report, and solve. All those things you have out here, all these, I looked at every demo so far, with the exception of the Atanta Analytics demo, which is down at the end, that all of them out there are connect, collect, store, analyze, visualize. All of them. Atanta has find patterns, report, and solve, plus connect, collect, store, analyze, visualize. WinCC OA, an IIoT platform, is a platform where you can do all those things. And they support IIoT protocols. What's an IIoT protocol? It's edge-driven. MQTT is an example. Edge-driven. That is the client reports in. Report by exception, we only send the things that changed. Lightweight and open architecture. So an IIoT platform like WinCC OA is something you can do connect, collect, store, analyze, visualize, find patterns, predict, report, and solve using IIoT protocols. That's an IIoT platform. Step 2 is plugging into a digital supply chain. How much time do I have? I have 13 minutes until the Q&A starts. Is that true?
You have 15 minutes.
15, right now.
15 minutes before we start the Q&A.
Got it. I have 15 minutes till the Q&A. Yeah. Perfect. All right, I'm right on schedule. All right. I want to talk about one other thing. Once I'm a smart business, I can plug into the digital supply chain. Okay? I want to talk about the importance of digital for recruiting and retaining the employee of the future. Okay? What is the number one problem manufacturers actually have right now? If you were to go talk to executives and you were to ask them, what is your biggest problem? The number one problem you have to solve, or you're screwed. Do you know what they're going to tell you? It's recruiting and retaining the employee of the future. When I came out of college in 1998, and then I became a double E in 2002 and got my master's in 2004, it was very common for me to meet guys who worked in these manufacturing facilities who'd been there 30 or 35 years, right? It was very, very common. Today, it is next to impossible to find a millennial or a Gen Z who's been with a manufacturer for 5 years. Think about that. Now, the Gen Z they have an excuse. They're still really young. But the millennials, I want you to find one. Why is it millennials and Gen Zers don't work in manufacturing? What's that? It's because when you go into the average manufacturing facility, you feel like you went 50 years into the past. Here are some really stupid rules manufacturers have. How many manufacturers allow you to connect to the Wi-Fi with your personal phone while you're on the plant floor? Basically no one. By the way, Tesla and Amazon allow you to be on. In fact, the expectation is that you will be connected to the Wi-Fi and that you will solve your own problems through YouTube and Google on the plant floor. Okay? I'm 51 years old. My oldest son just got married last week, literally got married, and then I jumped on a plane and came here. And my father came to the wedding, and he's about 80 years old. And my dad and I, he was telling me, I have 3 sons, and my sons are 26, 21, and 17, gonna be 18. And my father was talking about, you have great kids. He's like, they must really run you ragged with all the questions. And I said, no. This generation of kids, they don't go to their dad to solve problems. Like they don't call. I used to call my dad 4 times a week with help, fixing the washing machine or how do I replace this gooseneck inside the sink. They don't do that. They don't call. They don't get on the phone to begin with. Yeah. Well, what do young people do? Yeah, they are accustomed to solving their own problems. They don't ask for help. They go get help from someone who's already solved it. Digital transformation, the most digital companies in the world are trying to create the place the employee of the future wants to work. And it's not about salary and benefits. As much as we want to believe it is, it isn't. It's about quality of life and purpose. It's about quality of life and purpose. Young people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And they want to be able to solve their own problems. They want to be enabled to solve their own problems. Digital solves that issue as well, okay? All right, let's talk about the role of the IoT platform, and then I'll answer questions. So what I'm going to be teaching over the next 2 days, tomorrow I'm going to go do a theoretical lesson. What I would say is this: if you're not going to come to the 1 o'clock session, don't come to if you're not going to go to the 9, don't go to the 1, because you need the 9 in order to understand the 1, okay? Because the lessons go together. This is an IoT platform. On the left-hand side is the automation stack for basically every manufacturer, okay? And it goes through that manufacturing workflow. So you have PLC, HMI on the edge that connects to all the sensors. Then you have SCADA, which is monitoring and controlling assets and plants. Then you have manufacturing execution. Then you have ERP, and then you have cloud, whatever that means, okay? IT owns all of cloud, all of ERP, and half of MES. OT owns half of MES, all of SCADA, all of HMI, all of PLC Edge. So when we talk about IT-OT convergence, we are talking about joining together the infrastructure across those 2 domains, converging them together. Unified Namespace, which I'll go over later, was designed to do that. Put a UNS over here, connect cloud, ERP, MES, SCADA, HMI, connect them all together. Do you guys know what a unified namespace looks like? So you can go to virtualfactory.online on your phones, and you can navigate one. This is a live UNS. This explains definitions of unified namespace, but essentially what we do is we semantically organize the data in a business from producers and consumers, PLCs, HMIs, people, business applications. They produce and consume from a common infrastructure. It looks like this. And then it's organized primarily ISA 95 Part 2, enterprise site, area, line, cell. And then we have functional namespaces, descriptive namespaces, and informative namespaces, which are basically functions that you would write. Think a class that I would write in software. I would write a functional class for OEE. I would write a functional class for changeover. I would write a functional class for tooling die change on this asset, okay? There's a namespace that a normal person can go and navigate. I could take a 10-year-old kid and I could say, this is our plant, and I could go and navigate enterprise, Dallas, press, line. I can look at the MES layer. I can look at the ERP layer. I can look at the endpoints for ISO 55001. I can look at the CMMS data. It's all semantically organized in its current state. Okay? An IoT platform connects and collects to OT protocols and IT protocols. WinCC OA does that. So things like PLC, sensors, HMI, OPC servers, Modbus, but also REST, SOAP, HTTP, APIs, SQL. Those are all your business connections, and then you got your industrial connections. We connect and collect, and then we also connect via IIoT protocols into infrastructure. So that's gonna be things like DNP3, AMQP, MQTT, right? We store that data. Sometimes we offload it, we send it to a historian. We put the transactions inside of databases. We put the master data models inside of an ORM in the platform. We analyze it, data ops. It's the conversion of data into information. I won't get into any of that. Then we visualize it. So I can create a panel inside of WinCC OA that will visualize the data that we analyzed and convert it through data ops. And then we can also find patterns, report, and solve inside of WinCC OA. Okay? Part of what I'm going to teach tomorrow in both of those sessions is how to do that. And I'm really going to focus on the Node-RED plugin as the tool to do that with. Okay? I want to go over one other thing real quick. I want to talk about the role of AI agents and where the industry is going. Okay? How many of you here are using AI agents with industrial data? Live industrial data. So that is, I'm looking at tags, I'm looking at sensor data. Here, we got 4 people. Okay, that should change. So just want to stress that, okay? So I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick demo. All right. Virtual fact, and wait. Right here. So everything you see on this website, okay, I have an AI agent that'll allow me, it's inside this enterprise here, okay, Dallas, press, okay. I have an AI agent that will allow me to, I'm gonna go ahead and run this agent that I've written. So this is a Claude agent that is gonna interact with our industrial data. So it's basically connected to a data cache. Every time an update comes into the unified namespace, the agent can see it and it can look for things, and I can ask the agent questions. 5 minutes before questions? Q&A? Yep. Okay, got it. All right, so I just have this little simple AI agent, and I've got a unified namespace for our plant. And I'm just gonna say, I'm an operator on line 1 in the press area in Dallas. How are we running? And what should I be focused on? All right, so what the simple role of AI agents is interacting with data and doing things for human beings that we would normally have interns do for us. Hey, go measure this sensor every 15 minutes, put it in this spreadsheet, come back and give me a chart, okay? What I just did here is 10 seconds of pointing me to exactly what I should be fixing, okay? Like I should focus on, hey, the current state is my line is running. I'm working on work order 4010. You've produced 117 units with 323 remaining. Your last quality inspection passed, yada, yada. But here's what I should focus on. You need to focus on quality improvements. They should be your top priority. Monitor the part dimensions and the surface finish. Pay attention to process parameters like spindle speed and coolant temperature, et cetera, et cetera. That's the simple implementation of an AI agent, okay? And the vast majority of the people at IIoT.University, where we teach our students, have been doing this for a year, about. MCP, Model Context Protocol, where are we going? Model Context Protocol makes it so that I don't have to type the question in there. Model Context Protocol is an API for this agent. So now instead of the agent telling me, hey, you need to monitor these things, the agent will have the ability to connect to an MCP server that will be able to go do to run a function, get maintenance work orders where line is 1 in Dallas, in the press area over the last 3 years, where the antecedent to the problem was the coolant temperature being greater than 40 degrees. And then the agent gets that data back and then does advanced reasoning and gets all the way down to the specific solution. That's where we're going. That's not where we are today. Where we are today is most people don't know what digital transformation is, okay? Most people haven't built a unified namespace, a digital infrastructure. You can't do this without a digital infrastructure. But imagine you have one. Imagine your Tesla. Imagine your Stripe. You should read our newsletter from last Sunday. We talked about a breakthrough that Stripe had using AI agents. It will blow your mind. The days of you purchasing your own apps on your phones are gone. Your AI agent is going to make sure that the app you need is on your phone always. You'll never just go to your phone and go looking for an app. You'll never do that. That's where we're going. Okay, so this presentation was all about laying the groundwork for the presentations tomorrow. Digital transformation, unified namespace, and WinCC OA as an IIoT platform, and I hope that what I've done is I've opened your eyes to the art of the possible with WinCC OA. All right, with that, let's do Q&A.
Thank you, Walker. So now we switch to the Q&A. I will just plug this off. Well, so guys, as mentioned in the morning, please join the Slido tool and let's ask, instead of ChatGPT, ask Walker.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll just repeat it. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Answer it. Ask it.
So if AI and robots take over all labor force,
Yeah.
then everybody's out of work. And who's there to buy all the products?
It's a great question. So if AI and robots take over all the work, then nobody has jobs. Who's there to buy the products? All right. Economies grow, gang. I mean, you're an integrator, right? You automate shit, right? I've been doing this for 25 years. I have never built a solution that took someone's job away. Ever. Ever. That is a myth. Do you want to know why it's a myth? Because here is a truism in manufacturing. In manufacturing, they never have enough people to solve the problems that they have. They only hire the people they can afford to solve the most serious problems. What AI does for us is it's going to free up human beings to solve the problems we never even get to. That's the power of AI. Everybody who's freaking out that AI and robots are going to replace human beings, their jobs completely, don't understand how manufacturing actually works. Like, for example, any engineer who works in manufacturing, if I make this statement, I understand you, Mr. Manufacturing Engineer, never get to finish a project, ever. You always get it to 80%, you get it to good enough, and then you move on to the next fire. They will start laughing. They will go, that is absolutely true. If I go, you guys are overworked and underpaid and understaffed in your department, they're gonna laugh and go, absolutely, that is true. Here is something no manufacturer has ever said. I've got nothing on my plate. The simple reality is, it's a very fair question, but the simple reality is, if you wanna know where the real growth will come from AI and robotics, is it's freeing human beings up to do what it is we do best, which is innovate and solve problems. That's what human beings are the best at. We are the best at innovating new tools and using those tools to solve problems. That is why we're in this amazing building, in this amazing city, and human beings built this out of dirt and trees. My son and I talk about this all the time, driving through Dallas. It's hard to believe that humanity did this out of fucking dirt and trees. That's all we had, dirt, trees, and water. And everything in here, human beings created. So the fact of the matter is, AI is what we've been waiting for. All of us care about equity, right? We don't want poor people. We don't want people starving. True?
True.
Does anybody here want... Okay, why is it we have starving people in the world? Is it because we're a bunch of jerks? No, if everyone in the room cares, then why are there those who have not? The answer is there aren't enough resources to go around. How do we create more resources? We become more efficient. Artificial intelligence is the culmination of humanity's work over hundreds of thousands of years, specifically over the last 400 years. Artificial intelligence is how we will level the playing field. That's a simple reality. Okay, great question, though.
And
yes.
Just to read the comments, so great, powerful seminar. Just want to say that. Thank you. With all the session will be recorded. Yes, we will record them. And by the way, you will receive a feedback form. Once you finalize it, you will get instantly the link to watch, let's say, in exclusive before we share it in our social, all the content that will be from the first day presentation. And there is one question for you. Nowadays, ChatGPT answers all questions, even if it doesn't know the answer. Is AI ready for industry?
Yes, so is AI ready for industry? One very, very important thing. It's find patterns, report, solve. You're reporting to human beings. So we're not gonna trust AI to get it right until AI gets it right 5 nines, right? That's our standard as human beings. We want 99.999% reliability. So once AI is reliable 99.999%, then we will trust it to be wrong 0.0001% of the time. Okay? But I want to say something. If ChatGPT is giving you an answer that's hallucinating and giving you an answer, you gave it the wrong prompt. It was actually your fault. You didn't tell ChatGPT that if you need clarification, if you don't know the answer, say so. If you need clarification, ask. And here's the key in your prompts, guys. When you are guys and gals, when you talk to a chat agent, you want to tell it who it is, and you want to give it its rules for communicating with you. Don't treat it like Google. Okay, lay the groundwork for who it is and the rules of engagement, and it won't answer a question it doesn't have the answer to. It'll say, "I don't have the answer," or "I need clarification."
I like this question. So, is AI the new religion according to you?
I think for some, yeah, unfortunately. Most aren't ready for AI. I am not telling you guys to go out and become experts in AI agents. What I'm telling you to do is work on your fluency with AI agents. There's a huge difference. You need to work on your fluency with model context protocol. Right now, 95% of you don't even know what it is at all. You should be able to tell your 10-year-old son or 10-year-old daughter what model context protocol is. That's fluency. Okay? You should be able to tell your coworker how it is you're leveraging AI agents to make your job easier. You should be able to communicate that. That's fluency. But should you be landing AI agents all over your manufacturing facility? And absolutely not. Most of you are not there. But you're not going to get there if you don't start working on the fluency now. But yes, for some, AI is the new religion.
Well, Walker, you talked about Tesla, and we have a question for you. So why did the sale of Tesla drop with 45% in Europe last April? And has the market share dropped from 1.3 to 0.7% year over year, even while they are so great.
Yeah, because if you look at how sales dropped across the rest of manufacturing industry, the car industry, Tesla dropped less. So those are called macroeconomic factors. So the macros were we had a retraction, but it impacted Tesla the least. Why? Why did it impact Tesla the least if you look at revenue year over year? And it's because Tesla sells software, full self-driving, that now they have 65% of all Tesla owners pay for FSD. They don't buy it up front. They have it as software as a service on the car, and that's $299 for some, as low as $199 a month for their... You want to know the other big thing, real quick on Tesla, why Tesla's killing everybody? It's their insurance group. So Tesla offers insurance. I don't know if they offer it here, but in the United States, I drive a Tesla, and my insurance rate is a function of how safe I drive, which they track. They give me a safety score. And Tesla has the highest margins on their insurance underwriting than any insurance underwriter in the United States. So, but yes, the market contracted. Tesla grew, contracted slower than everyone else.
Okay, so I see that the ranking changed from the question, and the most strong question is, from your point of view, what is missing in WinCC OA?
Yeah, a semantic UNS viewer where I can build a unified namespace in a tree structure inside of WinCC OA. So the biggest thing missing in WinCC OA is a panel that allows me to right-click, create a folder, and then I can create a entity, and that entity maps to something else like a data point or a data type. I should be able to right-click and instantiate a data type, and then that data type populates as a tag with subtags inside of a tree structure. The only thing that's what I use external tools to visualize the unified namespace in WinCC OA, but what's actually missing is the ability to see it for myself in a tree structure.
Well, just a small correction, we have the CNS view for that.
You do, but it's not native. It's not native to WinCC OA platform core that I just deploy. It's not. No, it isn't. I have to specifically look at CNS Viewer.
Exactly.
Right.
What I mentioned is that we have the CNS view, and we will be going more in that direction of unified namespace to offer this.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
so you do have CNS view that does
it's a start.
do it.
It's
that
just
does
to say
do
we
it.
have a start.
Yes.
So, do you own Tesla stock? Okay, no, I don't think that you're promoting Tesla or giving. It's really like
I do own Tesla stock.
Okay.
And I drive a Tesla, but I own lots of stock in companies that I don't ever mention.
Okay, so how do we protect client data while using open source AI like ChatGPT?
Yeah, so this is the obvious answer here is you're using Llama locally. You're not taking customer data and publishing customer data through the OpenAI API. You're not doing that. Even though, by the way, OpenAI does containerize. If you're using the enterprise version, like 4.0 Solutions has 4.0 Solutions Enterprise, none of that data is used for training. OpenAI can't see it. But do we really trust companies like that? Of course not. So you shouldn't be publishing stuff to your customers' data. But at the end of the day, we're not going to have to be connected to the cloud to use AI agents. And in fact, in industry, agents are being instantiated and deployed to the edge, and they're completely isolated. So the answer is you only share customer data with isolated endpoints.
Well, I think the next question is pretty nice because you worked with both Ignition and WinCC OA. So from your point of view, what is the strength of WinCC OA over Ignition?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a great, people ask me all the time. I always say Ignition, WinCC OA, frameworks. And it's like, okay, well, Walker, how do I decide which one? What I'll say is, here's how I decide WinCC OA. First and foremost, WinCC OA is much more performant than Ignition is. Okay, so at scale, you cannot build something as big as big an infrastructure using Ignition as you can with WinCC OA. It's not even close. It's a factor of like 100. Okay, so I mean, I've done the benchmarking myself. So at scale, WinCC OA is much, much more performant than Ignition is. There's really no comparison. It's not because Ignition is garbage, it's because it's written in Java and it's like 8 levels higher in the software stack than WinCC OA is. WinCC OA is closer to the motherboard. It's closer to the chips on the board that are doing the processing than Ignition is, okay? So that's first and foremost. Number two, this is a huge advantage that WinCC OA has. WinCC OA is much better. I trust WinCC OA's industrial protocols, industrial protocol drivers, and I do not trust Ignition's industrial protocol drivers. I don't use Ignition's drivers to talk to PLCs outside of a proof of concept. I would never use their Modbus driver or their Walker. I would never use their drivers to talk to PLCs outside of POC. And if you want to get into the technical details, it has to do with the fact that they wrap all the drivers that are running in a gateway in one JVM. Okay, so there's a single JVM, one set of garbage collection for every single driver. And that runs inside a gateway scope. So that's a huge limitation. But the biggest one, first and foremost, is this. I use this example. It's not Ignition or WinCC OA. We have many examples of Ignition and WinCC OA being in the same infrastructure. The difference is WinCC OA is the entry point for the engineer, and Ignition is the entry point for the citizen developer. I could teach a monkey to use Ignition, drag and drop, right? At its high end, it's very powerful. There are many things you can build in WinCC OA at scale that you can't build in Ignition. So it's really more the platform for the engineer. Okay.
All right, Walker. Well, thank you. I think that we are up regarding the timer for the Q&A. Guys, Walker is here with us. Don't miss his workshop tomorrow in the morning. He will be showcasing the theory.
Let me do this real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Companies' differentiation of the future. This is very, very important. Companies' differentiation of the future will be tech-savvy CEOs, people who are able to apply technology best of the business. If you want to know who you should be working with, okay, if you want to make sure that you're picking one of the companies that's a 1 in 12 that's going to survive, look at who their CEO is. Is their CEO a technologist or is their CEO an MBA?
Okay, so just for you to know, Bernhard always use Node.js. he likes to play with WinCC OA, yeah? Just for you to know. Taking the opportunity.
It is no secret that the most technologically advanced companies in the world are led by technologists. I want you to go look at who Volkswagen's CEO is. And then I want you to go look at who Ford's CEO is. I want you to look them up. Go, who is the Volkswagen CEO? Who is Ford's CEO? And look at what their credentials are. The Ford CEO is the one who said, hey, Bosch, yeah, you can own all of our intellectual property for all of our control modules in our cars, and you own the rights to all that data. We don't. And then look at what Volkswagen said. And that's a strategic decision that cannot be made. And Jim Farley, who's the CEO at Ford, will drive the company into the ground. He already did, because he signed away all the intellectual property to Bosch, and Bosch owns it for the next 8 years. That was a 12-year deal. That was a 12-year deal. Now go look at Volkswagen and see who runs Volkswagen and see what his credentials are and see what his mandates are about data in the vehicles. All right, with that, thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.